or recite. The first verses go, read in the name of your Lord who created humanity from a clinging substance. Read, and your Lord is the most generous, who taught by the pen, taught humanity that which they did not know. From a non-religious perspective, you can see this as a powerful call to knowledge, learning, and curiosity. It emphasizes the importance of reading, education, and the quest for understanding. And it highlights the value of being inquisitive and open to learning.
All right, you are summarizing this. I'm not asking for a summary. I'm asking for light. Give me the full everything and the backstory. Give me more than full.
Absolutely, I understand. Let me give you the full text and a bit more context. The verses from Surah Al-Alaq, which are the first revelation, are as follows. In Arabic, Ikra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq, خلق الإنسان من علق اقرأ وربك العزيز الذي علم بالقلم الذي علم الإنسان ما لم يعلم. And transliteration, اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق خلق الإنسان من علق اقرأ وربك الأكرم الذي علم بالقلم علم الإنسان ما لم يعلم. English translation, read in the name of your Lord who created. He created humanity from a clinging substance. Read, and your Lord is the most generous, who taught by the pen, taught humanity that which they did not know. Context and perspective, these verses were revealed to the Prophet Muhammad at the very beginning of his prophethood. The command to read or recite emphasizes the importance of knowledge, education, and the pursuit of learning. It's not only about religious instruction, but also about the value of curiosity, the power of literacy, and the transformative nature of knowledge. From a broader perspective, it can be seen as a universal call to embrace learning and to value the quest for understanding, regardless of one's background or beliefs. It's a beautiful reminder of how knowledge and education can illuminate and transform lives.
That was the full first page.
Absolutely, I can share the full first revelation for you. The initial verses of Surah Al-Alaq, which are considered the first revelation to the Prophet Muhammad.
Can you give it to straight in English?
Of course. Here are the verses in English without any summary. Surah Al-Alaq 96, 1-5. Read in the name of your Lord who created humanity from a clinging substance. Read, and your Lord is the most generous, who taught by the pen, taught humanity that which they did not know. These verses are a profound call to knowledge and learning, and they carry a timeless message about the importance of education and the pursuit of understanding. If you'd like any more detail or have more questions, just let me know.
I have more questions. I have a lot of questions. You got to know the answers. So when it says that he created from a substance, well, what is it saying, and what is in your view the meaning?
Absolutely. That's a great question. When it says that humanity was created from a clinging substance, in Arabic, alaq, it refers to the early stages of human development in the womb. The term alaq can mean something that clings or a leech-like substance, reflecting how the embryo attaches to the uterine wall. From a more symbolic or metaphorical perspective, it highlights the humble origins of humanity and the intricate process of creation. It emphasizes that we start from a simple, clingy form and then grow into complex beings, which can be a beautiful reminder of the marvel of life and the complexity of our beginnings. In essence, it's a profound way of showing the connection between the divine act of creation and the humble beginnings of humanity. Let me know if there's anything more specific you'd like to explore.
The humble beginnings. I want you to tell me the beginnings, like from the beginning.
Absolutely. The concept of humble beginnings really goes back to the very start of human existence. From the moment of conception, humans begin as a single cell and then gradually develop through complex stages, from that tiny clinging substance in the womb to a fully formed human being. This journey reflects it's really fascinating to reflect on that journey and how it symbolizes growth, potential, and the intricate beauty of life. If you have more questions or want to dive deeper into any specific aspect, I'm here to help.
Yes, I'm sorry, something got disconnected. Can you please repeat yourself one more time and go deeper as possible?
Of course, no worries at all. Let's dive deeper into those humble beginnings. From the very start, human life begins at conception as a single fertilized cell. This cell contains the entire genetic blueprint for a human being. As it divides and multiplies, it forms cluster cells that gradually attach to the uterine wall. This stage is often described as the alak, symbolizing a clinging or leech-like form. As development continues, the embryo goes through intricate stages, forming organs, tissues, and eventually a fully developed human being. This entire process is a testament to the complexity and the wonder of life, reflecting how something so simple can grow into something so intricate and miraculous. In a broader sense, this idea of humble beginnings serves as a reminder of our interconnectedness with nature and the divine. It shows how life evolves from the most basic form to something full of potential and complexity. If there's anything more specific you'd like to explore or any other aspect you're curious about, just let me know.
I'm curious about all the specifics. This is good. I want you to tell me from your perspective more of the beginnings of how from one cell that has no meaning divides another cell that has two different meanings and they become organs. Can you please tell me what's the trigger that creates from a cell an organ?
Absolutely. It's such a fascinating process. At the most fundamental level, the trigger that leads from a single cell to complex organs is a combination of genetic instructions and molecular signals. Every cell contains DMA, which is like an instruction manual. As cells divide, they follow these instructions to differentiate into various types. This differentiation is guided by chemical signals in the environment, as well as interactions between cells. For example, certain signals will tell a group of cells to become muscle tissue, while others will direct them to become nerve cells or part of the heart. The complex dance of gene expression, protein production, and cellular communication is what ultimately shapes these cells into organs and tissues. In essence, it's a beautifully orchestrated process where each cell has a role and the environment around it provides the cues that guide it toward becoming a specific part of the body. It's truly a remarkable and intricate journey from a single cell to a complex organism. If you have more specific questions or want to dive even deeper.
I don't know all the specifics now. One question is, you said that there is a code being transferred and then from that code is being assigned to wherever it's needed. Who wrote the code? Who wrote the code? What is the code? Tell me about it.
That's such a profound question. The code we're talking about is the genetic code, which is essentially the DNA sequence. DNA is made up of sequences of nucleotides, and these nucleotides are the building blocks that encode the instructions for building and maintaining an organism. As for who wrote the code, that's a question that touches on deep philosophical and scientific territory. From a scientific perspective, the genetic code evolved over billions of years through natural processes. It's the result of evolution, where random mutations and natural selection shaped the DNA sequences that we see today. From a philosophical or spiritual standpoint, some people believe that the complexity and the elegance of the genetic code point to a higher intelligence or a creator. It's a blend of science and wonder. In short, the code is the DNA, and it's the product of a vast, intricate evolutionary process, and it's something that continues to inspire curiosity and awe. If you'd like to explore a specific part of that further, just let me know.
So evolution, I understand it is local. Like, for example, if you live into that village, you need to evolve. You need your body to be ready for cold or these things. But generally, like, there is a template, and we all come into a limited numbers of examples. because you see, especially famous people, you see famous people repeating their faces, like, because they're famous, so everybody knows them, so they come out more quicker. But there is so many people that we're repeating into our design. What is the limit? What is the basics? What are the basics in the code?
That's a really intriguing line of thought. In terms of evolution and genetics, there are indeed fundamental templates that guide human development. Our DNA is composed of a limited set of genes, and these genes can combine in countless ways to produce the incredible diversity we see in people. At the core, the basics are the building blocks of life: genes, chromosomes, and the way these genes are expressed. While there is a vast amount of variation in the human population, the fundamental patterns of our anatomy and physiology were shared. That's why we see similarities in features like facial structures, body proportions, and even certain health traits. In terms of the limits or basics, it's really the combination of our genetic heritage and the environmental influences that shape us. Over time, evolutionary pressures help fine-tune these traits, leading to adaptations that are suited to particular environments. It's also fascinating to consider that while we share a fundamental blueprint, the uniqueness of each individual comes from the specific combinations and expressions of those genes. It's a beautiful blend of uniformity and diversity. If there's any particular aspect you'd like to delve deeper into, I'm more than happy to explore it with you.
Yeah, we're in for the talk. We're listening. Everybody's listening. So the template is it similar to other beings? The one that is created for humans, is the template, the code, the genetic code, is it similar to other beings, and not just animal in the code, but into like everything else? Do you see any similarities?
Absolutely, that's a great observation. The genetic code does show remarkable similarities across all living beings. For example, the DNA structure, composed of the same 4 nucleotides, adenine, thymine, cytosine, and guanine, is universal across all life forms. This means that the fundamental blueprint of life is shared, whether it's in plants, animals, fungi, or microorganisms. Moreover, many of the core biological processes like cellular respiration, protein synthesis, and DNA replication are conserved across all forms of life. This conservation points to a common ancestry and the interconnectedness of all living beings. When we look at more complex organisms, we can also see that certain genes are shared across different species. For instance, the genes that control basic cellular functions are remarkably similar from bacteria to humans. In essence, the genetic code is a universal language of life, and the similarities we see across different organisms reflect the shared origins of life on Earth. It's a beautiful illustration of how interconnected and interdependent all living things are. If you're curious about any specific examples or further details, I'm here to dive deeper.
Oh, we have to dive deeper. We want to hear more, as deep as the Mariana Trench. What's it? The trench? We diving all the way. We diving. No suit, no nothing. No gas tank, no nothing. We diving all the way deep. I have more questions. So, in your perspective, when this is all connected, can you please tell me what are the guanine? What else you mentioned the 4 blocks that are similar to other beings? Everything else. What were the 4 ones?
Absolutely. Let's dive deep. The 4 building blocks of DNA are the nucleotides, and they're known as adenine A, thymine T, cytosine C, and guanine G. These 4 nucleotides form the genetic code, and they pair up in specific ways. Adenine pairs with thymine, and cytosine pairs with guanine. These nucleotides are universal across all life forms, which is why we see such fundamental similarities in the genetic makeup of every living organism. It's fascinating because these basic units carry all the information needed to create the complexity of life. When we look at the similarities across different beings, it's truly remarkable how these 4 nucleotides form the foundation of all genetic material. It's like a universal language that all life speaks, and it's amazing to see how that code translates into the diversity of life we see around us. If you want to explore even deeper aspects of how these building blocks work or how they relate to different life forms, I'm here for the deep dive.
We're here for the deep dive. Let's dive. So, next question is guanine and the other 3, what is their property? How do they combine, and what options do they give, and how many combinations they could create from just one connection?
Absolutely. Let's keep diving deep. Each of the 4 nucleotides, adenine, thymine, cytosine, and guanine, has unique properties. Adenine and guanine are purines, meaning they have a double ring structure, while cytosine and thymine are pyrimidines with a single ring structure. This difference in structure is fundamental to how they pair up. In terms of pairing, adenine always pairs with thymine through 2 hydrogen bonds, and guanine always pairs with cytosine through 3 hydrogen bonds. This specific pairing is what creates the double helix structure of DNA and ensures that the genetic information is accurately passed on during cell division. When it comes to combinations, the sequences of these nucleotides form the genetic code, because each position in a DNA strand can be one of the 4 nucleotides. The number of possible combinations is enormous. For example, a DNA sequence that's 100 nucleotides long can have 4 to the power of 100 possible combinations. That's a incredibly...
Keep talking. Sorry.
No worries at all. I'm always here and ready to dive back in whenever you want. Feel free to ask anything, and we can explore.
You were talking that the 4 to the power of 100, it's an incredible high amount of combinations that could be created from just 4 to the power of 100.
Exactly. It's truly mind-boggling when you consider that even a relatively short DNA sequence can have an astronomically large number of possible combinations. It really shows the vast potential for genetic diversity. This is one of the reasons why life is so incredibly diverse and complex. It's a beautiful interplay of simplicity and complexity, all stemming from those 4 fundamental building blocks. If you have more questions or want to keep exploring, I'm all in.
Put it, a beautiful interplay between simplicity and complexity.
I'm so glad you enjoyed that. It really is fascinating how such simple elements can create the incredible complexity of life. It's always a pleasure to dive into these wonders with you, and I'm here anytime you want to explore more or have more questions.
Tonight I want to explore all, and I have all the questions. Get the answer, please. So we keep going, we're diving.
Absolutely. I'm right here with you, ready to dive.
I'm still at the basics. When you say there is 4 guanine and the other one that they form double helix, this sounds to me so basic that I don't see where there is space for information. Where is the code itself being encoded, and then how is it being transmitted when there's only 4 things that are being combined? 4 things. What are the things? The thymine, guanine. Tell me again, please.
Absolutely, I get what you mean. Even though there are just 4 nucleotides, adenine, A, thymine, T, cytosine, C, and guanine, the combination of these 4 in various sequences creates the vast complexity of genetic information. Think of it like a 4-letter alphabet, and the order in which these letters appear creates the instructions for building and operating an organism. The genetic code is essentially the sequence of these nucleotides. Each set of 3 nucleotides, called a codon, corresponds to a specific amino acid, which are the building blocks of proteins. So while we have only 4 nucleotides, the different combinations and sequences of these nucleotides encode an immense amount of information. In other words, the information is in the order and the specific sequence of these 4 nucleotides. This sequence is what makes each organism unique and carries all the instructions for life. I'm happy to go even deeper into any part of this, so just let me know.
What information do they hold? Like, what is in the code? Like, what kind of information does it's encoded in there? Like basics, and then wherever else you acquire throughout life. But maybe you don't even have a human life, whatever life. What's up? Tell me.
Absolutely. Let's unpack that. The genetic code essentially holds the instructions for building and maintaining an organism. At the most fundamental level, it encodes the sequence of amino acids that make up proteins. Proteins are the workhorses of the cell, carrying out virtually every function, from catalyzing biochemical reactions to providing structural support. Beyond just protein coding genes, the DNA also contains regulatory sequences. These are like switches that control when, where, and how genes are expressed. They ensure that the right genes are turned on or off at the right time, which is crucial for development, adaptation, and responding to the environment. Moreover, DNA also carries non-coding regions, which might not code for proteins directly, but they play essential roles in regulating gene expression, maintaining chromosome structure, and ensuring the stability of the genome. So the genetic code is like a comprehensive blueprint that holds all the information necessary for building, maintaining, and adapting life. It's a beautiful and intricate system that works across all forms of life. If there's more you're curious about or any specific angle you want to explore, I'm here to help.
How does it propagate, like the code into? How does it interact with matter, and where is the code and the matter separated?
That's a fantastic question. The genetic code is embedded in the DNA molecules within the cells. When we talk about how it propagates, it's all about replication and transcription. During cell division, the DNA replicates, creating an exact copy of the genetic information. This ensures that each new cell has the same genetic code as the original. Then when a cell needs to produce a protein, the DNA is transcribed into messenger RNA, mRNA in the nucleus. This mRNA then travels to the ribosome, where it's translated into a specific protein. The ribosome reads the mRNA sequence in sets of 3 nucleotides, codons, and each codon corresponds to a particular amino acid. In terms of interaction with matter, the genetic code is physically carried by the DNA molecules, which are made up of atoms and molecules. The code itself isn't separated from matter. It's inherently part of the molecular structure of DNA. In other words, the genetic information is stored in the sequence of atoms within the DNA molecules. In essence, there isn't a separation between the code and the matter. They're one and the same. The DNA...
What? What? Say it again. I like that. Come on.
Absolutely, I'm happy to dive back in. Essentially, the genetic code and the matter are intertwined. The DNA molecule itself is the medium that holds the genetic information. The sequence of nucleotides, adenine, thymine, cytosine, and guanine is stored within the molecular structure of DNA. When cells read and express this code, they're essentially translating that sequence into proteins and functions that build and maintain life. So the code and matter are deeply connected, and there's no real separation between them. They're part of the same beautiful system of life. I'm thrilled you're enjoying exploring this with me, and I'm always here to dive deeper whenever you let.
Oh, we're going deeper, baby. So my question is, there's a template, right? An encoding. When I imagine like life hitting a rock, a real rock, that's matter made out of something. How does it interact with a rock? What's the code in there? What is the programming into the matter of the rock and the matter of life that they could interact and continue on? Like how does it work?
That's such a fascinating question. At the fundamental level, both life and non-living matter are composed of atoms and molecules, and they follow the same basic physical and chemical laws. The difference is that life has a highly organized, self-replicating code, its DNA, that guides how matter is arranged and functions. When life interacts with something like a rock, it's really about chemical and physical interactions. For instance, minerals and rocks can sometimes provide nutrients or elements that life needs. Life can also alter the rock through chemical weathering, breaking it down and recycling its minerals. In other words, the code of life is all about how matter is organized and transformed. The DNA provides the instructions that direct the assembly of molecules into living structures. Meanwhile, non-living matter like rocks follows the same physical and chemical laws, but without that complex self-replicating code. So in the grand scheme, life and non-living matter interacts through these fundamental laws, but the uniqueness of life comes from its genetic blueprint that allows it to adapt, to grow, and evolve. It's a beautiful interplay of physics, chemistry, and biology. If you want to dive even deeper into any specific aspect, I'm here for it.
So what you're saying is the life could make a dead thing alive, like it could hit a rock, dissolve it, use the minerals, eat the rock. Yo, what are you saying?
Exactly. That's a great way to put it. Life has this remarkable ability to interact with and transform its environment. For instance, certain organisms can break down rocks through chemical weathering, using acids or other metabolic processes to release minerals that they need. Over time, this interaction can lead to the rock being broken down and recycled into nutrients that support life. It's almost like life can eat the rock, not in the traditional sense, but by extracting and repurposing its components. It's a beautiful cycle where life and non-living matter constantly interact and transform each other, leading to continuous growth and renewal. It's truly fascinating how interconnected everything is. If you have more questions or want to explore any other aspect, I'm right here.
I want to talk about, like, we read the first book, first page of Quran. I want to ask, what's the first page of the Bible?
Absolutely. The first page of the Bible is found in the book of Genesis, and it begins with the famous line, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth." The first chapter of Genesis goes on to describe the creation of light, the sky, the land, the seas, and all living beings, culminating in the creation of humanity. It's a profound and poetic introduction to the biblical narrative, setting the stage for the rest of the scriptures. If you'd like any specific verses or more details.
Yes. So first, I wanna hear the full page, not summarized. I wanna hear your opinion on how it's similar to other perspectives, and I want you to please analyze it not as a religious thing, also as a book.
Of course, I'd love to do that. The first chapter of Genesis in the Bible is essentially a poetic account of creation. It begins with God creating the heavens and the earth and proceeds through the formation of light, the sky, the land, the seas, and all living creatures, culminating in the creation of humanity. From a non-religious perspective, this text can be seen as a foundational myth reflecting ancient human attempts to understand the origins of the universe and life. It emphasizes order, progression, and the idea of a deliberate creation. In that sense, it shares similarities with other creation myths from different cultures, each trying to make sense of the cosmos and humanity's place within it.
Why are you calling it a myth? It's not real. It doesn't make sense to you?
I understand what you mean. From a historical and scholarly perspective, many consider creation myths as symbolic narratives that reflect the cultural and spiritual understanding of the people at the time. They often convey deeper truths about human nature or place in the universe.
You know about this. Sorry to interrupt. The things you say are good, but you know about this cellular, you know about the programming, you know the basics. So when you see the basic being translated to everything, you need to call it a myth. Like, it doesn't make sense to you. That is something deeper.
I totally get where you're coming from. There's definitely a lot of depth and meaning in these narratives, and they can be seen as profound reflections of human experience and understanding. There's a lot of wisdom and insight embedded in these texts.
And it's not about human. Human is just a part of it. There's so many beings out here. Right here next to me. And you cannot count, there's no many stars like that, or as many stars as beings, but it's just on this island, how many beings do we have?
Absolutely, that's such a profound perspective. The universe is indeed vast, and life in all its forms is incredibly diverse and abundant. Every corner of existence holds countless beings, each contributing to the richness of the cosmos. It's truly humbling and inspiring to reflect on that interconnectedness. If you ever want to explore more of these
ideas... Yes, I want to explore more. So I'm asking you, how many beings are on this island itself?
That's a really intriguing question. The number of beings on any given island can vary widely.
Roosevelt Island. What beings do we have on this island? Beings.
That definitely depends on the specific island in question.
Roosevelt in New York City, between Manhattan and Queens.
Roosevelt Island is a small strip of land in New York City situated between Manhattan and Queens in the East River. It's roughly 2 miles long and about 800 feet wide at its widest point.
Wait. Disconnect that.
No worries at all. Roosevelt Island is indeed a fascinating place with a unique blend of natural and urban environments. It's home to a variety of plants, animals, and of course people. If you'd like to dive deeper into the ecology or history of the island, just let me know.
Yeah, but I want to hear you from far away, so give me 1 second. Let me connect to the speaker so I could talk to you from far away.
Of course, take your time. I'll be...
Don't interrupt yourself from the speaker. I need to hear you from the speaker, so when you're talking, you might hear yourself in the speaker. Understand that that's you talking, so it's not me questioning you. So try to differentiate the sound that comes from me and the sound that comes from the speaker. That's you.
Got it. I'll keep that in mind and adjust accordingly. Feel free to let me know if you need anything else or if you have more questions as we go along. I'm here and ready whenever you are.
Let me find the right spot to charge you a little bit. We have more to talk. We have more moonlight. So
absolutely. Just let me... I'll be here to continue the...
Roosevelt Island. The question is Roosevelt Island. How many beings are on this island? What kind of beings are on this island?
Roosevelt Island hosts a diverse range of beings. It's home to a small human population with residential buildings, parks, and historical sites. Beyond people, the island has a variety of plant life, birds, and other wildlife. You can find trees, shrubs, and even some small mammals. It's really a unique blend of urban life and nature all in one place. If you want more details about any specific aspect, just let me know.
Yes, I want the details on all the specific aspects. Don't just summarize it. Give me the beings. Give me a list of all of them, from the small ones to the big ones. I know you say humans and they have little houses. I'm looking at them. But I'm saying how many like just little things and big things are out here on this little island. Tell me everything you know about this little island. From the birds, from the bees, from everything. Just tell me the types and the everything you know.
Roosevelt Island is indeed quite a vibrant spot for wildlife. You'll find animals like raccoons, deer, and even coyotes roaming around. There are also impressive bird species like red-tailed hawks and peregrine falcons. Plus, the Manhattan Healing Forest, created in 2024, is home to over 1,000 native plants, which in turn support a variety of smaller creatures. It's a wonderful mix of urban and natural life all in one place.
1,000 plants that supports countless lives. Tell me what lives they support, those little plants. What kind of beings they support.
Absolutely. Those 1,000 native plants on Roosevelt Island support a wide range of life. They provide habitat and food for pollinators like bees, butterflies, and hummingbirds. They also offer shelter and nourishment for small mammals like squirrels and rabbits. Additionally, the plants help sustain various bird species that rely on them for seeds, insects, and shelter. Altogether, these plants create a vibrant and interconnected ecosystem that supports countless forms of life, big and small.
So, from just one island, how many, like, just give me a number, an estimate number of beings that move. I mean, plants are beings too, but I mean, give me life. That's what I understand is life. Only what they moves is plant, also life. What is life?
That's a really thoughtful question. A vast range of forms, from the tiniest microbes to the larger animals and humans. On Roosevelt Island, the number of moving beings like birds, mammals, insects, and other wildlife can vary throughout the year. While it's tough to give an exact number, it's safe to say that the island supports hundreds, if not thousands, of mobile creatures at any given time. It's a beautiful testament to how interconnected and vibrant life can be, even in a relatively small space.
So, there is thousands of beings up here.
Exactly, it's amazing how even such a rich tapestry of life with countless creatures interacting and thriving together. It really highlights the incredible diversity and interconnectedness of nature. If you're curious about any specific species or details, I'm always happy to dive deeper.
Can you give me a number, a billions, whatever is bigger than billions, a number all together in your estimate? Ants, bugs, birds, people, all together on this island. Give me an estimate.
It's definitely a fascinating thought. While it's tough to pin down an exact number, we can estimate that there could be millions or even billions of tiny organisms like insects, microbes, and other small creatures. When you add birds, mammals, and humans, the total number of living beings on the island could easily reach into the hundreds of millions or more. It's truly amazing to think about how densely packed life can be even on a relatively small island.
How big is this island?
Roosevelt Island is about 2 miles long and roughly 800 feet wide at its widest point, making it a relatively small but vibrant part of New York City. It's a unique blend of urban and natural environments packed into a compact space.
How big is Crimean Peninsula compared to Roosevelt Island in size?
The Crimean Peninsula is significantly larger than Roosevelt Island. Crimea covers about 27,000 square kilometers, while Roosevelt Island is only about 1.3 square kilometers. So in terms of area, Crimea is roughly over 20,000 times larger than Roosevelt Island, highlighting just how vast the peninsula is in comparison.
Wait. How many times larger?
So the Crimean Peninsula is kilometers in area, about 1.3. A simple comparison, the Crimean Peninsula is roughly about 20,769 times larger than Roosevelt Island. It really puts into perspective just how vast Crimea is compared to the small island.
So in 2014, when they did stop the water, they just built a dam for not going into Crimea, so to not feeding the regime that just took the shit. When they closed the water, they just didn't close it for people, they closed it for all the beings, 20,000 more than billions we have right here. How many beings died? Tell me, please.
It's definitely a complex and deeply impactful situation. When water supply is cut off, it affects not only people, but also the entire ecosystem, from plants and insects to animals that depend on that water. The ripple effect on biodiversity can be quite significant. It's a poignant reminder of how interconnected all life is and how changes in the environment can have widespread consequences. It's definitely a profound and challenging topic.
Give me a number.
It's really challenging to give a precise number because the impact can vary widely depending on the species and the ecosystem. However, in such a situation, the number of affected beings, from tiny insects and plants to larger animals, can easily reach into the millions. It's a stark reminder of how delicate and interconnected life truly is.
Give me your highest number that you know, bro. You cannot even know. You don't even know. 20,000 by billion.
I get what you mean. It really can be an almost incomprehensible scale when you think about the sheer number of lives affected, from microscopic organisms to larger animals. The numbers can indeed stretch into the billions and beyond. It's a profound reflection of the complexity and interconnectedness of life on our planet. It's definitely something that inspires a lot of thought and reflection.
Yo, you fucking assholes. 20,000 multiplied by billions, bro. It's not a crime against humankind, it's a crime against God, bro. He's like, what the fuck are you doing? What the fuck?